Oh, hello, folks. This is Ken David Stewart, and I think I'm going to do another YouTube video today. I've been getting some interest from it, and some people from my past who've shown up again, and that's what I want. That's what I like. The more the merrier, I always say. Well, what am I going to talk about today? Well, I'm working on 3 blogs right now. One has to do with my fiction writing. Some of you are familiar with, the weird and fantastical writings of Ken David Stewart, and another one I started about a month ago on rock music and books that rock. And I have a third one I really didn't start on WordPress, called basically living and managing, chronic conditions. And as I'm nearing 70 years old, I live with a fair amount of chronic conditions, which give me a variable amount of trouble from time to time, sometimes a great deal of trouble. And all of them can result in disability, chronic disability. I'm not saying this to bring people down or anything like that. I'm just, or to get people to feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for me. I mean, I could have a lot worse. I have about 5 conditions I've written down right now, and maybe that's not all of them yet. So again, fake cigarette, it's not a vapor. Nothing comes out of it, perfectly safe. Okay, now with that, and the other disclaimer I should make is I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I've worked with mental health patients, but I'm not a doctor or anything like that. So, if you got questions about anything I say see your family doctor. Talk to your family doctor about them. Though I'm quite willing, if you want to send me an email or something like that, or join in comments, and you want to talk about one of the conditions I mentioned, and you've got some questions, I may be able to answer them. I'm just saying I'm not a professional in that field. Okay, so your best bet is always talk to your doctor. One of the things that's bothered me for many years now, at least 2 decades, is what I call chronic pain syndrome. And while doing my research, because I do a lot of research, I found out this is not uncommon in people my age. I'm going to be 70 years old very soon, in the new year. And so from what I've read, it's pretty much been can be expected that you will come down with some of these conditions. If you don't, you're a very, very blessed person. One is chronic pain syndrome. Now, this one can be very disabling. And everybody suffers some type of physical pain from time to time. But chronic is a different ballgame. There's basically 2 types: acute, which lasts for a short time, but can be very painful, and chronic, which can go from moderate to severe and mild even sometimes, but it's always there. You always have these aches and pains and things like that. And, it doesn't seem to matter too much what you do or don't do. They're always there, and you don't seem to have much control over when a chronic pain syndrome is going to raise its hoary head. And it's not much fun when it does. It can be very disabling. I've had a couple of surgeries over the last 10 years for arthritis, which causes a great deal of my pain. And I've had 1 knee replacement and 1 hip replacement not that long ago. And both the surgeries were successful, but they did not eliminate the chronic pain syndrome. they relieved a lot of the pain I was suffering at the time, because it was really, really like off the radar type pain. And I'm glad I got the 2 surgeries, because they did reduce that quite a bit to deal with that. But the chronic pain syndrome, it's still around. And it's something I have to deal with. You know, basically for most people, and in my case, you know, a chronic pain will largely stem from either arthritis or fibromyalgia in some cases. No, arthritis most people have heard of because their parents have had it or their grandparents have had it, and they know a bit about it. Now, you know, with arthritis, it tends to attack the joints more than anything else. You know, and it'll get into your pain in the back, pain in the knees, pain in the hips, and can make even walking very painful. Now, with fibromyalgia, on the other hand, is a really tricky one, because it will mostly show up as pain in the muscles and the joints at the same time if you got arthritis going concurrently. And that is really frustrating, because with fibromyalgia, you'll get pain throughout most of your body, upper and lower body. And it can make you really miserable real fast. And, you know, so these are, you know, that's a syndrome I've had to deal with. The good news is, though, at present, neither of these conditions are curable. They are treatable and they are manageable. And I found that I can learn to live with them if I do certain things, take certain steps, you know, and being open-minded and talking to doctors and doing my own research and things like that, and always and other people, and looking for things that might help. So some of you may have some things that help you out too with chronic pain syndrome. Another thing I've had over the years, so it hasn't been too much of a bother lately, but I've had bouts in my life with chronic fatigue syndrome, which my theory is that resulted from when I was in my mid-30s, I got my first case of mononucleosis, and that's from the Epstein-Barr virus. And I was sick for about a year with mononucleosis. That's in fact how I met my my family physician, who's unfortunately now retiring this month, so I have to find another doctor. But that's the first time I met him in a walk-in clinic, and he diagnosed straight away that I had mononucleosis. He could feel that my glands were swollen, and I had a fever, was coughing, and all kinds of nasty stuff. So he took a quick blood test, and there's a test they can do for mono, and came back positive for mono. Now, he says the good news is it won't kill you, but the bad news is you'll probably feel tired, you know, pretty crappy for about a year. That's the average. He was right too. That's exactly what happened in my case. And that's a strange one too, chronic fatigue syndrome, because it can go into remission for a while, sometimes months. It can go into remission. And sometimes you don't know if it's caused by other factors, some of your own conditions. Because chronic pain syndrome, for example, makes you very tired. It's just common sense. When your body's in a lot of pain, it has to work a lot harder, and you know, you will, you know, get fatigued by it. You get tired by it. Another one I've suffered with all my adult life that I can remember is depression. And you know, though it's classed as a mental illness, I'm not ashamed of it. It's like the common cold of mental illnesses. And, you know, they still don't know exactly what causes it. and exactly how to treat it either in all cases. But I've been going into some detail about depressions. But I just say here, we're not talking about being sad for a few days or a week. We're talking about like having a month or more at a time uh, where you don't feel any pleasure in anything. You're very fatigued. You have little, if any, energy, and your moods are extremely low. It is a condition that needs to be treated because unfortunately there have been suicides because of it. And so that I'll talk to, on another YouTube or something, or in one of my blogs, go into detail. I'm just giving kind of an overview of some things I might be talking about here. The COPD, I've probably struggled with about the last 15 years. And that to a large extent was my own fault because I was a heavy smoker for about 40 years and didn't quit until maybe my early 50s, and smoking cigarettes. And that's a major cause of COPD. And that's basically a condition where breathing is difficult. You can cough up excessively in large amounts of phlegm and stuff like that, nasty stuff like that, because it's kind of a combination of the diseases of emphysema and bronchitis. Some people may have more of one than another, and some will have both. But I have both, and COPD is really limiting because when you can't catch your breath all the time, or you get very labored breathing, that really limits your activities, and you may find you have to give up certain activities you could do for that. And it's another type of disease you have to work at, and I'll talk about that in more detail. But once again, there's things you can do to manage it. It's not curable at this point, but it is manageable. You don't have to be miserable all the time with this. There are workarounds. The other one is dyspraxia. Now, I initially wrote a blog about this, and then I forgot where I put it. It's probably on my computer somewhere, where I went into a little bit of detail about dyspraxia. Now, basically, dyspraxia is a condition where you don't have very good coordination skills, sometimes in fine motor skills or the gross motor skills. And things like tying shoelaces will be difficult for you. Trying to assemble something out of the box when it comes with an instruction manual, almost impossible. And you feel very bad about this because it makes you feel stupid. You're really not. But just that there's a process in your brain that just doesn't seem to process these things properly. And, you struggle with a lot of physical activities, which most people find simple. So it's embarrassing too. And so I've suffered with that all my life. And I will do a video on that sometime where I get into detail about what it is to have dyspraxia, have coordination problems, have spatial reasoning problems, and things like that. But what I'm just going to finish off saying today is, having these conditions is not the end of the world for me. I'm still a pretty happy guy on the whole. And there's workarounds I've found for a lot of these conditions and ways that may not work for you. They might, but they've worked for me, to try and keep me as happy and functional as I can with these conditions. But I've had to make a lot of compromises, things I can do and can't do. Okay, that's about, and I'd like to say, my audience, I was away for about 10 years from YouTube. Still active many years on my blogs on WordPress and my podcasting, and I still am. But I'd like to thank a former student of mine. I was a substitute teacher, and he's been corresponding with me somewhat. And I encourage that. It makes it feel very good. And, other people too, you may have questions. You may say, yeah, I know what you're talking about, Ken. And, or you may know me from somewhere in the past. So, anyways, I like a lot of interactive type of activity on my blogs and podcasts and things like that. And, so I would just like to say that at this time. And I'm just going to get up and come back for a second because there's something I have to find here. But I'll be right back. Okay, on my way back, folks. Just trying to get around in my living room, which is still hard for me. But I've got a couple of things for show and tell today too. I was tempted to buy a whole set of puppets on Amazon because I used to like to do the Grandpa Ken Stewart show. Okay. And I part of me is a little kid. And I like entertaining little kids and adults. And over the years, my wife and I have collected a lot of these things. As you can hear, my breath is labored already, just from walking across the living room and stretching out to find my moose. Now, sometimes I'll use puppets or stuffed toys like this. I still have to give this guy a name. My wife got him for me fairly recently, Christmas present or something. But I do enjoy stuffed animals. I bought a lot for my wife on Valentine's Day over the years. What this has got to do with what I've been talking about is nothing, but I just felt like talking about introducing my moose, and hopefully by next time I'll have some other animals and characters to show you. Now, this thing here, show and tell again. Geez, how can you tell I used to be a teacher, right? Show and tell. It's not showing too well on my green screen, but here it is. Basically what it is, although it's a little better, is it's a walking stick. And I love this thing. It helps me get around outside, even around the house. And the nice thing about this, I have canes too, but I feel too much like an old man, even though I am an old man. I don't like to feel like an old man. Walking with a cane, medical type cane, I don't know. I don't like it. Kind of lowers your self-image or something. But this is a walking stick. Now, the first, I noticed that one of the shows I liked, the old reruns, is Dog the Bounty Hunter. And I know he has one now. He's close to my age. I think maybe I'm a year older than him or something. But and you like the old Dog the Bounty Hunter series. And he has one of those. For any Metallica fans, Lars Ulrich's father, Torben Ulrich, has one of these. I think I first saw it there. I kind of for years said I want to get one of those things. Because you know what? They look cool. They look cool, not like a cane. These are made of wood, and I really like them. And whoever made these things should be paying me some commission, but I'm not enrolled in any affiliate marketing right now officially, so I'm not going to get a cent from that. But it works, and I like it. Uh, so there's a million and one things we could talk about today, but as you can see, my throat is not doing too good today. I've got some kind of, who knows, but I will live. So, I'm just gonna thank Riley and other people who clicked on my last YouTubes. I've done a few of them, just do a lot more in the future. And the more people who comment or subscribe or say like, the more I do it. So, just have a good afternoon and we shall talk to you later. This is Ken David Stewart signing off.